Big Zay!
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
Well, the Bears, I guess Mark Potash explained to us this is the first time in league history that a team has won back-to-back games 25-24, and they did so with a blocked punt and then a blocked field goal and then a made field goal this week. Pretty extraordinary stuff for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, a couple of walk-off wins on special teams in the last two games to get them to 3-2, and finally handling just a little bit of prosperity. Talking about having won the previous two games and then having to go on the road and face a playoff team from a year ago, and it wasn't pretty. It got a little dicey there at times, but they find a way to get it done in the end, and that's what this organization's had such a difficult time doing in the last 4+ seasons, is anytime they get anything going, it would be short-lived. They couldn't handle even a modest amount of success, and they managed to accomplish that here. Like I said, to get above 500 with a suspect Saints team coming to Soldier Field this week.
So, Brad, working the locker room post-game, what was the most common explanation why the running game seemed to click against the Commanders?
I think the most common thing was that, everybody started to do something a little bit better. That they haven't pointed the finger at any one thing, like it's this player or this element. It's been timing's been off. Occasionally the running back's track hasn't been great. It takes all 11, as you know, to run the ball, and I thought they really did a nice job on the edges yesterday to get DeAndre Swift going. You finally saw some explosive runs. He averaged, about almost 8 yards a carry, finished with 108 on the ground, and they were kind of able to set the tone for that, and they really needed it there at the end. So that was good to see for Swift, and that's something that I think was gnawing at Ben Johnson a little bit, because he's been pretty candid. Like, he really likes kind of digging into the design of the run game and putting it together and watching it unfold on the field. He likes it. That's more exciting to him than the passing game. And the running game was kind of a jumbled mess through the first 4 games. So to get that going in this instance was a positive for them. Maybe proof that they found a couple things that they could tighten up over the bye week.
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of great moments for the Bears in that game. There were some rough ones as well, but what was your take on getting 3 takeaways? The Bears now have 11 in 3 games, and they've got a 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, and they're second in the league behind only Jacksonville in terms of takeaways, and those can come in bunches, and they sure have come in bunches. They absolutely needed the one at the end, which was more of a gift from Jaden Daniels than really anything the Bears did, but Nashawn Wright's there to do what your coach should do, fall on the football. A positive play from him after some rough ones earlier in the game, and when you can create extra possessions for your offense, like the stats bear it out, guys. Like, your chances of winning when you can dominate that turnover margin skyrocket. They absolutely skyrocket. You fold that in with the Bears finally playing a little run defense last night. They did a really nice job against a team that entered the game with the number 1 rushing attack in the league. They were able to shut down Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He didn't really get going at all. Jaden Daniels hit him for a couple runs, but nothing that crippled the Bears. And so run the ball, stop the run, keep getting takeaways. I mean, that's going to be a formula to win a high percentage football games.
Brad, nice reporting on getting to the bottom of what Jake Moody has been through the last year, including changing from 3 steps to 2 steps and how he landed on the Bears roster back in September. The question now, after winning a game and really being dependable in a pinch at the last minute, what happens when Cairo Santos comes back, and what will they do with Jake Moody, who might be appealing to a team looking for a kicker if he's stashed on the practice squad?
Well, I think when Cairo Santos is healthy, he's the kicker, right? Like there's nothing Cairo had done this season that would put him on notice when you consider his resume. Now, can he be fully healthy before the Saints come to town Sunday? I don't know. As long as Moody's on the practice squad, he's going to be a candidate for a team that's in need of a kicker. And maybe previously another team wouldn't have shown interest in him because of the baggage, and he had more than you can put in the overhead bin on the airplane from San Francisco. But you watch him go out and hit 4 of 5, including one as the clock strikes 000, and maybe feel good about his opportunity if you're a team out there that had good draft grades on him, and you think he's been able to tighten up some of the things that really led to his downfall with the 49ers. So guys on the practice squad are technically free agents. They could sign a contract with any of the other 31 teams at any point and be out the door. The only way the Bears would have to protect him would be to put him on the 53-man roster. And, if the Bears were to consider something like that, I think it would be very short-term. No one's going to carry 2 healthy kickers on the 53.
There have been situations where you can overpay a guy to stay on the practice squad, kind of make an attempt to buy his loyalty. Yeah, if you can get away with it. I mean, most guys want to play, and I would imagine that with kicker issues around the league, you would think that if they just tried to hide him back on the practice squad, he will wind up somewhere else.
Possibly, it depends who's got a need, and again, how they feel about Moody and what how many pieces of luggage they think that he's got with him still, maybe from San Francisco. Like, it looked good last night. Got to look at the block kick again. There was certainly some penetration in the middle of the line. The kick might have been a little bit low. I don't know. I think it was from 48 yards, but he hit a couple long kicks in that game and looked solid.
Brad, are you saying they could be up and down on him, Moody? Sorry.
We'll see.
Brad, how surprised were you that getting TJ Edwards back to that defense made such a difference? And it looked like you talked to the right people afterward. The Commanders pretty deceptive trying offensively, and a team that you needed that kind of veteran experience on the Bears defense, especially at the linebacker position.
Yeah, with Cliff Kingsbury and how they have that run game designed, especially with the quarterback as a threat, they try to get you kind of moving one way and hit you the other way, and so it takes a lot of discipline to contain that. And with Edwards back out there, like he's like a traffic cop for them at that second level of the defense, and you get him back in the mix. You get Kyler Gordon back in the mix, which helps out. I mean, you're talking about a front 7 player there most of the time with how he is aligned. And then, the defensive lineman, you actually saw him shedding some blocks, and I think playing with a little more physical urgency in this game. And you add all of those elements together, and you get a much better performance. Remember, the thing that had really killed them is they were getting hit for those super long runs where you had breakdowns at all 3 levels of the defense. And Krosky, Merritt, or Bill, he had an 11-yard run. That was it for explosive plays from him. And Daniels ran around a little bit, but they weren't getting hit for that flip the field run that they had given up in too many of the other ball games.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Est Wing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years, estwing.com. And Brad, we've talked a little bit this morning about the idea that you no longer have the opportunity to sort of run another training camp type practice, to use the week to kind of work on your team. The Bears made changes via their coaching staff. They made changes via, certainly getting some personnel back, but a lot of the way that they managed to improve the run and the run defense was done just by coaching it up. I mean, it is a hell of a tribute to that coaching staff that they were able to improve in that fashion.
Yeah, you've kind of seen it week by week, right? And that's why I think it's intriguing where you look at where they're at in the schedule right now, what they've got coming up over the next month plus or so. And I mean, here's a absolutely wild statistic, and because you felt like Ben Johnson was going to have this impact, this effect on the Bears offense, and there are ways that you can see it. But how about this, guys? They've scored 21 or more points in each of the first 5 games, which sounds great, right? You're over 20, you're 21 plus. You're going to be in probably 3 or 4 of those games, right? Obviously, the one they had 21 on the nose, they got railroaded by the Detroit Lions. But you're 21 plus each of the first 5 weeks. Sounds good. Nothing to go crazy about. First 5 weeks of the season. The Bears have done that twice since 1958. They did it back in 1995 with Wani and Ron Turner, and they had 21 plus through the first 7 games of that season, and they did it in their first 7 games of the 1958 season. Now, no deep discussion of the Cornerstone franchise can be held without examining offensive ineptitude. It's part of the franchise, but yeah, like they're 21 plus in 5 straight games, and that's a bit of the Ben Johnson effect right there.
Crazy. That's crazy stuff. Thank you, Big Z. Great catching up with you. Great job.
Thanks, Brad. Safe travels.
Have a great day, guys.